This is Kevin Pietersen at his dominant best. But the eagle-eyed amongst you will have spotted that the Pietersen featured in this console game appears fully fit. Something the real thing most definitely is not.
All the injections I've had, the medication I take, the massages I have, I mean everything that is possible to keep me on the cricket field I've tried. And I'm willing to try to keep me going in this series. The series is so thrilling. It's so great to be a part of. Nobody ever wants to miss a test match or miss a one-day internationals, but the Ashes series is a little bit more special than everything else. So I certainly don't want to miss anything, and I'm trying everything possible by myself and the medical staff and the management and the doctors to keep me on the field, and I've just got to keep going with that process at the moment.
No talk of an operation at this stage then?
It's a day-to-day process. I'm seeing a specialist later in the week, and we'll be able to make a decision on what happens at the end of the week.
But you could do without it, couldn't you?
As a sportsman, in whichever sport you play, you definitely have injuries and niggles that you play with throughout your career. In India last year I had a cracked rib. In Sri Lanka I played with a broken finger. You play with little grade 1 tears in either your hamstring or your calf or your side or whatever it is, and you can sort of get through it on painkillers and stuff, but this one for me is definitely hurting me because I'm struggling to run. So it's really biting me. I've tried all the injections, the perinurals, the epidurals, the homeopathic injections last week, cortisone injection. I mean, I've tried everything I can possibly try. It's just a case of now seeing what happens this week, later in the week, to see where I'm at, but I certainly can do without it. It's definitely hampering what I'm doing at the minute.
Let's just talk about the game here that you've put your name to, and your image is there as well in the game. Do you find these things useful? I mean, do you play a bit of computer game sport to relax, or to just keep yourself on it, you know, keep those reaction times absolutely tip-top?
I wouldn't say reaction, and I wouldn't say relaxation either, because I'm so competitive. And no matter who I'm playing with, I'm playing against my wife. We do have Nintendo Wii at home. So when I'm playing my wife or my brothers, or when mum and dad fly into the country and stuff, and we're having family evening, we'll put the Wii on and play, and it turns into almost a fist fight because we're all trying to beat each other and trying to outdo each other. That's the way I've grown up, with 3 brothers, mum and dad and stuff, and that's the way I am. And
it's full on or nothing, right?
It is. It's all on. Yeah, it's full on.
But it's obviously not the real thing. Now, tell me about that real moment as you try and read the bowler's arm. And I don't know exactly what the maths is, but you've got a fraction of a second, haven't you, before that ball is coming past you or maybe hitting you or whatever, to make up your mind how to play. How do you compute that?
You set your triggers early. I think a lot of cricket shots are predetermined. Your defensive mechanism and your instinct comes out in you as well. That's why you practice. That's why you go through all the training that you do to train your eye, to train your brain. They talk about all these things in sport. You're training your eye to react to what's being delivered. Certainly cricket and baseball, where the ball's coming at you so fast. I mean, you've got to protect yourself as well. So you get yourself into positions where you know you can defend from. It's a bit tricky when a guy's bowling like Freddie was bowling yesterday. I mean, I was very happy standing watching that instead of batting against it, and I'm totally honest with you, because it's not nice. Anybody who says that kind of bowling, balls reverse swinging back into you down the slope at Lords is fun or is nice, is a great challenge, is lying, because it's not fun. It's tough.
One of the criticisms, I suppose, of a game about cricket is, you know, it's another great generation of youth sitting on the sofa instead of sort of being out on grass like this.
I never played computer games as a child. Obviously being brought up in a hot country makes a hell of a big difference. Here in England I can understand that there will be time for it because of how cold it is in the winters, because of how little sunlight there is. I do see scope for it, and I do see that it's okay. I don't mind it, but I certainly won't have my kids playing PlayStation, playing Nintendo, playing all these games of cricket, tennis, temper bowling, Mario Brothers. There's no ways my kids will always be playing them. I'd like my kids to be active.
Now, how ironic was it? I suppose this might happen in sport a bit, but Freddie says this is his last Test series. and he goes and plays like that. I mean, what's that all about?
Well, exactly. He's certainly saved his best for last. He saved his best for Australia, put it that way. He was absolutely sensational here 4 years ago at the Oval, that day when Michael Vaughan couldn't get the ball out of his hands. He just wanted to keep bowling, and he got a brilliant fight for here. And yesterday, I mean, the man showed exactly why he's one of the best players we've had. His bowling yesterday was frightening. It was that good. It was frightening, and it was brilliant to be in his dressing room than in the opposition's dressing room, because facing that is not nice as a batsman. And he wanted it so much, and he actually spoke to the team before the game and just said, "We just need to be cool, we just need to be patient, and we just need to control what we can control, and we'll win this fixture." He was true to his word. Strassi couldn't get the ball out of his hands, and he just showed why, as I said earlier, he's one of the better players that have played ever for England.
Well, now where is the series now? I know, we've got the win as against the draw, but it's kind of an empty sheet now, isn't it, with 3 tests to go?
It definitely is, because Australia have got the Ashes, and only having to draw the Ashes to take it back to Australia, we know we've got a big job to go. Australia are going to come with a huge punch at us next week, and we've got to make sure we just lift our game an extra 10-20%. There's a few of us in the batting department who can definitely improve, myself included, to have 150 runs in the game in the 2 test matches and averaging around about 40. I know that I could be averaging 60, 70. Missed out in the first innings in Cardiff. I should have probably got a big 100 at Lords as well. So there's those kinds of little performances that we can all, if we all up these, we're going to be difficult to beat. But we need to up them. We need to consistently try and get better and improve daily, which with this bunch of guys, the boys do want to do that, which is an encouraging sign as well.
Well, you're putting yourself under pressure there, as if all the commentary and the expert analysis wasn't enough. Everybody wants you to do better. Does that weigh heavily on your shoulders?
I set myself high standards. I talk like that now, saying that yes, I'd love to turn the 40s into 100s, and at 69 I would love to have got 100. But I'm also a great believer in what will be will be. I've trained as hard as I can. I have got a problem at the moment with my leg, which is not making me participate at 100%. I'm trying my level best to get to as close to 100% as possible, and that's all I can do, and the rest takes care of itself.
Including shot selection?
Yeah, shot selection. Hindsight's always the best side. I mean, I look at that shot selection in the first innings at Cardiff, and yeah, it's probably a shot that looks awfully dreadful when you watch it. I thought I had it under control. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, and you look at it again and you speak to people and they say you could have pulled out of it, and yeah, I could have pulled out of it, and maybe I should have pulled out of it, but what's happened. There's not much I can do about it now, just hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Would you be more cautious, do you think? You wouldn't be so adventurous, you wouldn't be so daring another time? Or is that the way Kevin Pietersen is?
To be honest with you, the sweep shot is a shot I've played for however many years, and I've hardly ever got out sweeping. And it's a favourite shot of mine to get off strike, to mess up a spin bowler's line. I've done it against all the spin bowlers who I've played against, and spin bowlers don't like it. If you can sweep a good ball off line and just rotate the strike, he's got to bowl to another batsman, changes lengths, changes lines, etc., etc. So it's a very, very good shot to just disturb the opposition.
Let's talk about getting out and officials and things, can we? Because there's been quite a bit of criticism of the way the umpires worked, and decisions being referred up, and the video kit being used sometimes but not all the time. What's your feeling on that?
I think we've just got to trust the players in terms of all the catching fiasco that went this week. Players probably need to just say, did I catch it? If you caught it, you trust your mate. I don't think there are any cheats in the game. I certainly think that if somebody thinks he's caught it, you've just got to go with what happens. It just takes out then the extra pressure on the umpires. The umpires have got a terrible job as it is trying to give the right decisions in a fraction of a split second.
Yeah, but you know, Kevin, you've got a dozen cameras on you, probably more nowadays, watching every move. Yeah. I mean, the Strauss catch on umpteen replays doesn't look much like a catch, does it? If we trust him...
Yeah, but you speak to Strauss and it went straight in, and I was standing square of it at gully, and I thought that definitely carried to Strauss. I mean, there are so many of those. Speaking to Shane Warne after the game, or during the game yesterday, and he said to me, there's no doubt about it, Strauss caught that ball. He knows it first slip. He fielded there for 10, 15 years. He knows that that ball carried. Strauss is not a cheat. And he would have definitely have owned up to something if he didn't think it was right.
So you feel this generation of cricketers is a good example to kids, is it? The integrity is there. It's not a matter of winning at any cost.
No, I think, to be honest with you, that 2005 Ashes, which made cricket something that it wasn't before, has definitely shown by the way that it was played that cricket can be played by gentlemen and be played by mates. And it is great to see that the guys can have a laugh after a game or during a game, and you can communicate with each other, and it's not this bullying approach that happens day in, day out that people think is actually what happens.
Because the comparison has been made, however inappropriately, with the modern footballer. The professional footballer will fall over, tumble around, clasp an ankle, do anything to show off to the ref to try and get a penalty awarded against the other player. They just say that's part of the game. Is that creeping in, or is that present in cricket these days?
I don't think you can draw comparisons with a free kick to Ricky Ponting being caught at first slip. I think that changes a game. In cricket, it's very, very defining, a catch at slip, and you can be made out to be a real fool and a sucker if you actually have tried to claim something which wasn't, and a guy gets given out. I mean, it'd be really bad for you. So, no, I don't think it's right.
You won't be surprised to hear the Herald Sun newspaper in Australia reckons 90% on their poll reckoned that Strauss didn't catch that ball.
I've toured Australia, and it was a very, very difficult tour because you certainly get made to feel very, very unwelcome, and I can totally understand those statistics. Yeah.
It's that what the aggression isn't just during the game.
Oh.
You feel the atmosphere all the time.
When you get off the aeroplane until you actually board that flight and drink your first glass of champagne, I promise you now, it's those statistics don't surprise me.
So in that sense, the UK with England is more welcoming to the Australians as they tour here.
100%.
Let me just ask you very briefly about the other forms of cricket as well. The one day game, the 2020 stuff, and the Indian experience. I think we've heard you talk about quite a lot. Talk about even trying to take a short form of cricket to America. Now, could that ever work over there? Do you think, if you could sell it right? There's a nation that loves its sport.
They do love its sport. I'm not sure what percentage of America likes cricket. To be honest with you, after what I saw that Lalit Modi and his team did in moving the IPL to South Africa in the space of 2 short weeks and putting on a show that they did there, I will never, ever put it past Lalit and his team to turn something around or make something work in America. Being a captain in South Africa for that IPL, I mean, our eyes were opened as to how these guys are fantastic in their business and how they work so well day and night, how little sleep they are, and they're on the money all day, every day, just on the ball, doing everything that they need to be doing. And everything just went so remarkably well. So I'm not counting anything against if those guys said that they can make something work in America, but it'll be very interesting to see how it does go, yeah.
Is there a risk the shorter form game will impact on the test match? And that in a few years' time, by the time my children, your children are playing this game, actually there might not be a 5-day test?
That is such a tricky question, because a few months ago I was so clear in my thoughts that nothing will affect Test cricket. But then you see what certain players are saying in the media, the kind of players now that are retiring from Test cricket to continue with the 2020 form and the riches of 2020 cricket. I'd be a fool to tell you now in this interview that Test cricket will be here in 10 years' time, because I don't know now. I really and truly don't know, after seeing what some people have said, after hearing and speaking to mates of mine who play the game around the world, and seeing the riches of 2020 cricket in the game. I'd be a fool to say that Test cricket will be the number one for my kids and for your kids, etc. So I don't know. It's a watch this space in a big way.
Would it be a shame if it wasn't?
I think it'd be a very, very big shame, because for me, I love Test cricket. Test cricket is a fantastic game. You could see how it captures everybody in the last 2 Test matches that we've just played. I say this Ashes series could do real big wonders for Test cricket still. We did in 2005, 2006, 2007. I can't remember what happened. I don't really want to remember what happened. But this series, I mean, that final day in Cardiff, this Test match at Lord's, and let's hope the next 3 Test matches are just as good, because Test cricket needs some help at the moment.
Kevin Pietersen, great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Cheers.